Now, some of you may have noticed that actually people are sitting in front of it, so be careful. There's some great artwork back there, and that comes courtesy of our next company, which is called Indiewalls. Actually, is for sale, so you can jot down the QR code while you're back there. The company is called Indiewalls. The CEO's name is Gabby Wolf, and their mentor during the summer was Jed Weisberg, and their law firm was Schneider. So please welcome Gabby Wolf from Indiewalls.
Everyone, good morning. I'm Gabby Wolf, the CEO and co-founder of Indiewalls. Earlier, that was my dog. The reason I got into DreamIt was because I brought the dog. Mark really loves that dog. So Indiewalls is an online marketplace connecting artists and venues such as hotels, restaurants, and cafes. So what we're doing is we're bringing together venues' walls and artists' artwork, where we're creating an online platform for the two to come together to create rotating exhibitions in those spaces. And our aim is to change the way these venues think about the artwork in their public spaces. And in doing that, we're going to solve two of their biggest problems. And the first problem has to do with costs. So imagine for a moment that a new hotel is opening up in, let's say, the Meatpacking District. That hotel is going to spend somewhere between $20,000 and $100,000 on the artwork in their lobby alone. And they're going to change that artwork 5 years from now to keep the space fresh. That's a significant recurring cost for that venue. And after speaking with dozens of those venues, we realized they'd like to be changing their artwork much more often than that. And the reason for that brings me to the second problem these venues have, which has to do with branding. These venues want to stay relevant, meaning they need to differentiate themselves. They need to create content outside of just food and rooms. And they need to stay involved with current trends. And for many of these venues, more than just being relevant, they want to be locally engaged. Meaning that they need a branding that says, we take note and we're engaged with the creativity that's happening around us. And one of the most important parts of local creativity is the creativity of local artists, which brings me to the next party involved, the artists. We surveyed over 100 artists who told us that outside of selling artwork, the most important thing for them is increasing exposure. The artists need a new place to show their artwork. And according to the most recent US Census, there are roughly 6,000 galleries in the US, but there are 1.2 million artists. That's hundreds of thousands of artists without a place to hang their artwork, without a place to show that artwork, and without a place to sell that artwork. So what are we doing to solve this problem for the two parties? Well, let me give you an example. So take Cafe Blossom. They just opened up their 4th restaurant in the West Village, and they needed artwork for the space. So instead of going out and purchasing artwork, we helped them bring in Richard Silver, a local artist's artwork, into the space. That artwork is going to be up for 3 months. And in 3 months from now, they're going to swap it out for a new artist. And Ishvan, the manager, said that he really loves what we're doing because it empowers the venues to act as curators in their own space, which is exactly what we want them to be doing. Now let's take the Tribeca Grand Hotel. We helped bring in Brian Ermansky's work. And between Brian's following, the press and promotion we were able to get them, and our own following, we were able to help the Tribeca Grand bring in 200 people for an opening night. That's 200 more people that know why the Tribeca Grand is cool, that know that they're relevant and interesting. And the Tribeca Grand is not the only place we're helping bring in people. We had an opening at the Cupping Room. We had an opening at the Thompson Hotel and at RDV Lounge. And these are just a few of the opening exhibitions we've had with these venues to help them increase the people coming into those spaces. Then there's the Bean. We're partnered with all 3 of the Beans in New York. They're a great venue, and we help them bring in Nina Bosch's artwork. That piece is actually made up of all cut-up Metro cards. You can see MTA, stuff like that. It's all cut-up Metro cards, and all of her pieces are about New York City scenes. It's hyper-local, really interesting, and she's gotten a lot of press through it. But it's not just locally interesting. It has a global appeal. An Italian blog wrote a piece about Nina and highlighted the fact that Indiewalls, that the pieces could be found on Indiewalls. And because of that, somebody purchased one of the pieces in Italy. We had to figure out how to ship to Italy, but it was great. So we're providing these venues with press opportunities, with promoting their spaces. We're providing them with the opportunity to be relevant, engaging, interesting, and we're providing them the opportunity to not have to purchase that expensive artwork. And for that, we're charging these venues $200 to $1,000 a month subscription. Now, when you think about the venues that we're initially going after, that's restaurants, hotels, and commercial and residential lobbies. There are roughly 250,000 venues that Indiewalls could be partnering with, which is a $1 billion market opportunity. But that doesn't take into account cafes, airport lounges, retail stores, furniture stores, real estate offices, salons, and even cruise lines. And I know right now a bunch of you are probably thinking about a bunch of other types of places where we could be hanging artwork. There's a lot of opportunity. So now I've told you about how we're helping the venues and the revenue we're generating from the subscription model. But what I haven't told you about yet is the fact that all the artwork in these venues and on the site is for sale. Meaning you go into one of these places, like you'll go into the back of the room and check out that artwork, and you'll see a label with a QR code and a URL, information about the artist. You can go in there, learn more about the artist, and purchase one of those pieces directly from the space with your smartphone or computer. We're taking 25% commission on all the artwork that's sold through the website. And that means that aside from the $1 billion market opportunity from the subscription model, we have a secondary revenue model of 25% commission on all the artwork that's sold, and we're acting on both those revenue models right now. So where are we so far? Right now, we've accepted 100 artists out of the 300 that have applied. There are 2,200 pieces on the site for venues to browse through, and 28 current exhibitions in New York where you can go right now to see artwork, learn more about it, and purchase it quickly and easily. We're turning those spaces into informal galleries for those artists. And for the first time today, we're incredibly excited to announce a partnership with Renaissance, the hotel, who's a subsidiary of Marriott. And we're going to be piloting with them in New York, building out up and down along the East Coast, and moving westward. We're really excited for the opportunity to work with a brand like Renaissance and the opportunity to quickly enter into other cities. And they're really excited to be offering their clientele the opportunity for discovery of local artists. The team is made up of myself, Ari Grazi, my co-founder, who's in charge of venue acquisition, Tamara Weg, our curator, Mike Stevens, who's in charge of our social media, and Mike Shillstone, who's in charge of project management. Today, we're raising $1 million in order to increase our sales force, further develop the platform, and meet the demand we already have. So in addition to investing, you guys can all go check out some of the artwork and purchase some of the pieces. We've already got some interest for the artwork outside. Check it out. Thanks.